Hi vinyl community, Cindy here, and this week I'm going to be sharing albums 11 through 20 that I listened to week 2 for my 50 album challenge. And I want to keep this video kind of short, so I'm just going to jump right into it. My first selection that I listened to was Best Coast, and this was their debut album, Crazy For You. And this came out in 2010. It's a wonderful indie rock album. It's on the Mexican Summer label. And Best Coast, it kind of has 60s girl vibes, some of that 90s alternative, lo-fi surf music. I just really love the band Best Coast, and it's been a while since I listened to this album. When I first purchased it, it was one that I was in heavy rotation, that I played a lot. I really love this band, and this is just such a great album. And I would encourage anybody that's interested in kind of a lo-fi, indie, just a really cool, chill vibe to it, to check out Best Coast. Really great album. My next selection is Charlie Bird, and this is Birdland, and this is the 1966 mono pressing, and this is jazz, bossa nova, bop, and Charlie Bird was a jazz guitarist. I have to confess, when I bought this album, I knew very little about Charlie Bird. It was a blind buy. I just really loved the album art. But this turned out to be a great album. I haven't listened to it in a while, but there's some great songs on here. Samba de Orpheus, the work song, some really good stuff. I think Charlie Bird is best known with his work with Stan Getz, and they did an album together. But pleasantly surprising, I really enjoyed this. So Charlie Bird, Birdland. My next selection that I haven't listened to in a while, I have quite a few albums by this band, and just this album I haven't listened to. I've listened to other things by them, and that's REM, Life's Rich Pageant, and this is their 86 release. Really great album. It has the song Fall on Me, Flowers of Guatemala. It has the Superman that Mike Mills was the vocalist on. So this was kind of fun to rediscover. It's just been one I haven't listened to. By default, I really go to Document a lot. I don't know what it is with that album, but it really resonates with me. But this was fun, rediscovering Life's Rich Pageant. The next album was Julian Lennon, The Secret Value of Daydreaming. And this album was his 86 release, his sophomore album, his follow-up. There are some great songs on here. I really love the song Stick Around and You Get What You Want, which Billy Joel does the piano on. Want Your Body. So there's some great songs on here. It's kind of a hit or miss though. There's like some really great songs where Julian goes above the bar and just really excels, and there's other songs on this album where I'm just so-so. It's a little too adult contemporary, so it's kind of a mix, but I do enjoy Julian Lennon's music, so it was nice rediscovering it. I kind of feel like maybe I haven't listened to it in a while because there's really a handful of songs that I really like. The rest are just, as I'm listening to it, I see my mind wandering other places. So that's Julian Lennon, The Secret Value of Daydreaming. The next album, I was really kind of surprised when it appeared on my Discogs randomizer choice, that I hadn't listened to this, and probably, I know I haven't listened to it in the last year, it might be 2 years. I listen to this group a lot. I have, I think I have most of their, I think I have the full studio albums discography for this band. But this week I listened to Foo Fighters, the debut, which was mostly Dave Grohl solo home recordings. This is so great. You can really see their early influences. This Is the Call is on here. Big Me. I mean, just really a packed full album. Just awesome. I love the Foo Fighters. I'm a big Dave Grohl fan. Big fan of all the members of Foo Fighters. So this was probably one of my favorite listens of the week. And probably going to put it on more heavy rotation. Maybe move out some of those standby Foo Fighter albums that I always go to. I really enjoyed listening to this. The next album I was a little disappointed in. So that's probably why I haven't listened to it in a while. And that is Spoon Loveways. And this is their 2000 EP. It was their debut on Merge Records. It wasn't their debut album though, but it was their debut on Merge Records. This is a 2014 reissue. So I got this back in probably 2014 or 2015 when it first came out. A good selection of songs. I think Spoon has really refined their music. This earlier release just really didn't do it for me. So that's probably why I haven't listened to it as much. The songs are pretty solid. It's just, it was just so for me. So that is Spoon Loveways. But I do love Spoon. Their later stuff is really good. I do enjoy it. This particular EP, just so for me. So this week I was surprised that the Discogs randomizer actually, picked out a few records that were kind of in this century or in this decade. So more contemporary artists. But there's some old ones too. So the next one is Atlas Genius, and this is their 2013 debut album. And they're an Australian duel, not a duel. Sorry. But anyway, indie rock, really good. Love that song Trojans. I'm sure you're all familiar with the song Trojans. It was on the radio all over the place. Also the song If So is on here, and Symptoms. So a really great debut album. I really enjoy this. It's been a while since I had listened to it. But it's good. It just kind of gets, when you have a lot of records in your music collection, sometimes things get passed by, and I think that was the case with this, but it was great rediscovering this album. So, a confession to make with the next album. This is the only album that I own by this group, and they are such a huge group, significant contributions, and that's The Doors. So the only album I own by The Doors is this one, Strange Days, which is their 67 sophomore album, and really good album. This, of course, is a reissue. I think it's a 2015 Record Store Day reissue. And some great songs on here. Of course, it has Strange Days, People Are Strange, Unhappy Girl, Love Me Two Time, So really, some really great songs on here. I was surprised that this was the only Doors album that I owned. I thought I had some more, but they're on my want list. It just seems like other things supersede them when I go record shopping. So this was really a great listen. I was glad that I gave this a spin again. It's just been a few years since I listened to it, but a really great album. The next album, when I was probably, probably like junior high or something, I was obsessed with this album. And I didn't have the album at the time, but there was one song called The Best of Times that they played all the time on the radio. And I remember I would used to write the time that it played on the radio on my calendar, trying to figure out kind of an algorithm in 6th and 7th grade when they were going to play the song. So that would be Styx, Paradise Theater, and this is such a great album. I don't know why it's been so long since I've listened to it, but so many great hits off of this album. Too Much Time on My Hands, Best of Times, let me see, Rockin' the Paradise, Snowblind. I mean, just so many great songs on here. So this was really fun. Brought back some great memories. I had totally forgotten about writing every time that song came on the calendar. I don't know what I was doing, but enjoyed listening to this. And the last album that I listened to this week for the 20 album challenge was the Shangri-Las, Leader of the Pack. And this is, it says 65, so 1965 on the back. Of course, this is a reissue that came out sometime in the 2000s, and just a really great album. I love 60s girl groups. This reissue was on the Redbird label, and it's just really good. This one, of course, has Leader of the Pack, Remember Walking in the Sand, He Cried, Bulldog. So some really great songs on here. This is not 60s girl groups. He Kissed Me and everything is, bubblegum and cupcakes and everything sweet. The songs on here are very emotional, very eerie, like a lot of tragedy happening in these songs, but it's just so cool. They have such a great vibe, and like Dressed in Black, oh my gosh, what an eerie, haunting song that is. So just a really great album. This is, I would say this is another favorite this week that I listened to. I haven't listened to it in a while, but I just really enjoyed it. So that is my 10 albums that I listened to for week 2 for the 50 album challenge. Next week, I'll show 10 more albums on my quest to rediscovering my record collection. And this has just been a really great experience. And thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next week. I'll see you on the flip side. Everyone have a great week. Thanks.